You grew up in a poor town in the state of Sinaloa, Mexico. Life was hard. Every single day from early morning until late evening, you worked on an avocado farm. The sun burned your skin, your hands were covered in blisters, and at the end of the month, you had almost nothing to show for it. You felt trapped. You felt like there was no future for you. Every evening you came back to a small, simple concrete house. Your mother did everything she could to put food on the table for the family, but it was never enough. You saw the exhaustion and worry in her eyes every time she looked at you, and it hurt. One quiet night, an old friend from the neighborhood pulled up in his dusty pickup truck. He looked at you seriously and said there was another way. A way to make real money. Fast money. You stood there listening, knowing that this conversation could change everything. A few days later, you were taken to meet the local cartel boss. You were nervous. Your hands were shaking. Your heart was beating fast. But at the same time, you felt excited. Maybe this was your chance to finally escape poverty. Your very first job was simple, but important. They told you to sit on a hill and watch the road for any suspicious cars or police. You stayed there for many hours, alone with your thoughts, wondering if you made the right decision. Then came your first real transport. You drove an old pickup truck through the mountains at night, loaded with packages. Every shadow, every distant light made you tense. The fear was real, but so was the adrenaline. Soon you started collecting debts from people who owed money to the cartel. You stood over scared men in dark alleys and demanded what they owed. Part of you felt bad, but another part told you this was just how the game worked. When you received your first big payment, you went home, closed the door, and counted every single bill. For the first time in your life, you felt power. Real power. One evening, an older member of the group handed you a new black phone. He looked you in the eyes and said, "You're one of us now." From that moment, there was no turning back. You started going to parties with the crew. Loud music, girls, alcohol, respect. People treated you differently. For the first time, you felt important, like you belonged. You even got your first tattoos. The needle hurt, but it was a symbol. You were becoming someone new. With more money came new clothes, better shoes, and a thick gold chain. When you looked at yourself in the mirror, you saw a completely different person. The nights in Culiacan were crazy. Neon lights, expensive bottles, music blasting everywhere. You felt like you were living the high life every weekend, but at home everything was different. Your mother looked at you with sadness. She knew what you were doing, and it broke her heart. Slowly, the paranoia started growing. You began checking the windows at night. Every car that drove by made you nervous. You stopped trusting people. Arguments inside the crew became more frequent and more aggressive. The atmosphere was getting heavier. One night you received a message. Someone you knew from the group had been killed. That was the moment when the reality of this life really hit you. The boss kept giving you more dangerous tasks. You felt the pressure every single day. There was no escape. Then came the ultimate betrayal. You found a listening device in your phone. Someone close to you had sold you out. You decided to run. You escaped through the mountains in the middle of the night, driving as fast as you could. Suddenly, you saw headlights behind you. They were chasing you. You pushed the gas pedal to the floor, racing through the rain, terrified. During the escape, you were shot. You sat on the ground bleeding, leaning against the truck, thinking this might be the end. Sometime later, you found yourself sitting alone on a hill, watching the sunset. You were tired, broken. You had lost almost everything. In the end, you stood in front of your old family house. After all the money, all the power, all the fear, and all the violence, you were right back where you started, alone and empty. This is what your life would look like if you chose to work for the cartel.